Hey, good morning, Berta. Good morning, Jason. Yeah, we're looking at that advisory just came in minutes ago. And what we know right now, the winds are holding steady at 85 miles per hour. You'll see that here, moving to the northeast, north-northeast at 9 miles per hour. So relatively still slow moving system here, 145 miles off the coast from Charleston, South Carolina. So that's where we're looking at it. Warm waters there. The Gulf Stream's also fueling some of this as well. And so as Jason had just mentioned, the greatest concern is that life-threatening storm surge from Modesto Beach all the way up towards really the state line, towards North Carolina. So when we look at the advisory, really holding steady. The only difference is the movement slowing down a little bit at 9 miles per hour. Of course, we've talked about that concern where that could stack up some of the rain totals. Impressive numbers coming in some of those coastal areas of South Carolina along with that life-threatening storm surge. So looking at what we are seeing here, yesterday morning is when we saw that turn into that tropical storm Ian, right? And then it moved over central and eastern Florida. And by the evening time at that 5 p.m. advisory became another hurricane, or back to a hurricane status, and has only been building that strength. And so 85 mile per hour winds are expected, gusts higher than that. Anticipating landfall later on this evening because of that slow movement. And you'll notice, again, it's all about that onshore flow, counterclockwise rotation, putting the worst of the winds up towards the northern shores of South Carolina. And so that will be the problem you're thinking about late tonight into the weekend. A lot of people are getting out, and why we wanted to create that, awareness that, yes, areas of the Carolinas, even Georgia, will feel the impact of Hurricane Ian. And again, this is going to move north. Notice this here gets to Bristol, Tennessee, Roanoke, Virginia, and there's concern for flash flooding as this pushes up towards the Appalachian Mountain Range. And we talk about that heavy tropical rain reaching that mountainous terrain, something we will track right here on Fox Weather.
I'm Amy Freeze. Welcome to Fox Weather's YouTube page. We have more great videos on the way, so make sure to subscribe to stay updated on all things weather.